Cool.
Preparing to live stream.
And we're recording too? Or I guess it's
Well,
recording
we're
there.
recording to the YouTube. Yeah, it'll be
Cool.
preparing to live stream. Okay. All right. So here we go. Um, welcome, everybody. Welcome, David Rovics. Welcome, all of you joining on Zoom and on YouTube. This is the fourth of our series that we call Winter Fridays, and we've been doing online concerts. I'll tell you that we have just one more left, and the performer is Ben Groskup, somebody that we've really admired lately, and want to hear his cutting edge activist music. Ben will be joining us in exactly 2 weeks. He will be a live concert in person at the church, whereas right now so far we've only done online shows during the winter. Anyway, David is one of our favorites. What I always like to say is that whenever David's nearby, we drop everything, and whenever is convenient, we will host David at the church. The People's Troubadour, like you wouldn't believe, and the constant writing and touring, like you wouldn't believe. We were with David a little bit more last fall when there was a doula for David's mom who was going into a different realm, and we offer you our condolences, David, and to your family as well. Anne played at the church twice. She retired to Jamaica playing and played her classical music on our beautiful piano, and we were blessed by that. So I just wanted to mention that, and also tell folks that we have Sunday programs all the way into June. Some really great ones. This Sunday is Reggie Gibson, Massachusetts Poet Laureate. And we have a historian next. His name is John Fabian Witt. He's a Yale University historian, and he's talking about the 20s and the founding of ACLU and NAACP, and some of the actors involved in that who were also involved in the founding of Community Church of Boston. So it's really a great cross section of learning about that history as well as our own history and where they combine. And many other programs that you can find out about on our Facebook page or our website. Join our mailing list. You can put it in the chat, and I'll jot it down and make sure you get added to our list. A bunch of stuff coming up. April 19th, we're hosting Bill McKibben with. It's a joint venture. That sounds pretty capitalist, doesn't it? With several other churches in the Back Bay, and we're having it at St. Paul's Cathedral, which is right there next to Park Street Station. It should be a magnificent program. We have a procession leading up to it from the MLK Embrace statue all the way to St. Paul's Cathedral, where we'll hear we'll hear honk music, and we'll hear the group Be Vocal that's doing a lot of the activist vocal choral music that we're hearing so much of in a beautiful way in this time of activists needing to get back in gear and do their thing, and lots of singers are really doing that really beautifully. That's April 19th, Bill McKibben. I won't go through the whole program, the whole spring for you, but that's just a taste. So, David, thank you for agreeing to join us for this, and we look forward to hearing from you and your new songs and your old songs. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Dean. It's great to be back with you, even if it's only virtually. But and I spent the whole last 10 minutes dissing virtual events, but I'm really glad to be participating in this particular one, and glad for the whole program that the Community Church of Boston puts out there. It's a lot on there. This is I'll start out with one about Minnesota. She was born in Colorado. She died in Minnesota, leaving her wife and 3 kids. Horrified by the election, they moved to Canada, but they moved back, that's what they did. And when ice came for her neighbors, she came out to do what she could. If the rest of us could be so good. Some people hunker down and hope it will end soon, while other people just have to try. Some folks join the choir, just hope to stay in tune. Other folks just can't stand by. And when they come in to take people away, some of us just must do as they should. If the rest of us could be so good. Some of us take on the kind of worldview that at its heart is all about. If you want to make a country great, then you have to kick a whole lot of people out. While other folks think in terms of solidarity, and thus the world may be understood. If the rest of us could be so good. If the rest of us could be so good. If the rest of us could be so good. Oh, thank you. So I was earlier in January, at the beginning of January, I was in Bisbee, Arizona, for a few days, and that's for me. You might want to mute that, even though it's nice to hear you clap, just for sound quality purposes. And I did a little reading up on the Bisbee deportations before going to Bisbee. Dean, you might want to mute your channel there. Dean, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You might. Oh, you want to mute your channel because everybody's listening to you. Bisbee, Arizona, 1917. The worst kind of company town anybody's ever seen. Phelps Dodge controlled everything there. They owned everything in Bisbee, everywhere. It was a town of copper miners. That's what people did. Worked beneath the ground, lived in the skids, risking their lives for just enough to survive. It didn't take long when the Wobblies arrived. They went on strike, all the miners down below, and they were shipped away to New Mexico. .85% of the miners had joined in. Mexicans and Anglos, Croatians and the Finns. And the dirty sheriff working with the company put them in cattle cars that went 500 miles from Bisbee. They went on strike, all the miners down below, and they were shipped away to New Mexico. Wilson said it was outrageous, but Phelps Dodge never faced any consequences for this obvious disgrace. To deport 1,000 people beneath the summer heat, they broke the union in Bisbee, it just couldn't compete. They went on strike, all the miners down below, and they were shipped away to New Mexico. They went on strike, all the miners down below, and they were shipped away to New Mexico. But it's not the same just seeing the hands clap. It was very nice. I did one concert during the pandemic when people had candles. They had like lighters and stuff. So in between the songs, they were sitting in dark places in different parts of Denmark, and at the end of each song, they'd light candles and lighters and stuff. And I felt like I was playing in some kind of a festival somewhere. Let's see. I'll do another song, another one of these kind of recent ones. Picture this. Mediterranean Sea, on the shore, a demolished city, a row of buildings reaching jagged in the air, one open window with a ragged child there, saying this will be the last message that I send. This is what it looks like at the end. Picture this, a row of body bags. Look at her, this child wrapped in rags.
No.
Steve, you want to mute that channel there? As she tries to stay warm beneath a tattered plastic sheet, with nothing covering her feet, saying this will be the last message that I send. This is what it looks like at the end. Picture this, her hands beckon towards the sky, asking God to tell her why. When the fire came crashing with a deafening sound, did her parents have to burn up on the ground? She writes, this will be the last message that I send. This is what it looks like at the end. This will be the last message that I send. This is what it looks like at the end. This is what it looks like at the end. Thank you. Well, I was I know many people are thinking about the kind of solidarity that they would like to be providing rather than, you know, whatever they're able to do. This is a song about some pretty hardcore solidarity. My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. And it was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. So in the midst of these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. March 'neath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazoned with Erin Goldbra, bright with the harp and the shamrock, and Libertad per Republica. Just 50 years after Wolftone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may. But from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We fought them in 5 major battles. Churubusco was the last. Overwhelmed by the cannons from Boston, we fell after each mortar blast. Most of us died on that hillside in the service of the Mexican state. So far from our occupied homeland, we were heroes and victims of fate. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. Thank you.
Amazing song, David.
Oh, thank you. The only song I ever wrote that became a folk song. And I was aiming for it to be a folk song too when I wrote it. Let's see. Well, I've been writing a lot of songs about recent events. In fact, I've written about, 30 songs about the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran, but I haven't learned any of them because they're all online with my AI band. But if you want to hear them, look up Epstein Empire is the latest album with my band Aitsuno, Aitsuno. Of course, when I introduce it that way, everybody's going to be horrified and not check it out. But it's really good anyway, even if you are horrified. And yeah, I wrote this song last, I guess it was June. You can bomb Hiroshima, kill 100,000 kids. You can make up stories about how that's not what you did. You can bomb dams in Korea. You can party as they drown. You can bomb Cambodia, burn the forests and the towns. You can bomb Panama City. You can bomb Sudan. You can bomb Damascus. You can bomb Afghanistan. You can bomb Benghazi, pretend you've come to liberate. You can bomb Belgrade. You can bomb Islamic State. Maybe we'll learn. Once all the bombing ceased, you can't bomb your way to peace. You can bomb refineries. You can bomb the ports. You can bomb the hospitals. You can bomb the courts. You can bomb the schools. You can bomb the tents. You can call it retribution. You can call it common sense. Maybe we'll learn. Once all the bombing ceased, you can't bomb your way to peace. You can bomb Fallujah. You can bomb Mosul. You can try to run the planet. You can make up all the rules. You can bomb the ancient cities of Yemen and Iran. You can bomb the world until the world is gone. Maybe we'll learn. Once all the bombing ceased, you can't bomb your way to peace. You can bomb Hiroshima. Let's see. Well, so I've been writing songs that have been that are, with my AI band, that are intended and designed to convince American soldiers to desert from the military or not to join the military in the first place. It's like counter recruitment songs, right? So it's a mission to write a lot of songs that are really catchy to listen to and really informative to listen to, that tell people about the history of Iran and U.S. imperialism, particularly as related to Iran, and they're sung by the voice of a sexy female who's a multi-instrumentalist and he specializes in newgrass, chanson, skiffle, and anybody hearing this stuff bops to it and loves it, and and I think it would go over very well if blasted at outside of military bases where there are U.S. soldiers. But whoever might be engaged in such an activity of blasting the music for U.S. soldiers at a military base somewhere in the world would first have to get over their moralistic, you know, feelings about having anything to do with artificial intelligence. But you know, if they can get to that point and realize that it can be used as a tool for winning hearts and minds, then hopefully, you know, the Aitsuno Anti-Imperialist playlist is on SoundCloud. It's available to use. Get yourself a speaker. I recommend a Bose S1. The battery lasts for like 8 hours and you can make it really loud. The soldiers will like it, I promise. There's one called Fighting and Dying for the Billionaires. There's another called AWOL. Trying to get a show on Iranian radio. I don't drive a car because they run on gas, but if I did, it'd run on biomass. I ride a bike or sometimes a skateboard, so I'll piss off all you drivers and your yuppie hordes sitting all day in the traffic queues. I'm a better anarchist than you. I don't eat meat, I just live on moldy chives or the donuts that I found in last week's dumpster dives. Look at you people in that restaurant, I think you are so sad when you could have been eating bagels like the ones that I just had. I think it is a shame all the bourgeois things you do. I'm a better anarchist than you. I don't wear leather and I like my clothes in black, and I made a really cool hammock from a moldy coffee sack. I like to hop on freight trains, I think that is so cool. It's so much funner doing this than being stuck in school. I can't believe you're wearing those brand new shiny shoes. I'm a better anarchist than you. I don't have sex, and there will be no sequel because heterosexual relationships are inherently unequal. I'll just keep on moshing to Anti-Flag and Crass until there are no differences in gender, race, or class. All you brainwashed breeders, you just haven't got a clue. I'm a better anarchist than you. I don't believe in leaders. I think consensus is the key. I don't believe in stupid notions like representative democracy. Whether or not it works, I know it is the case that only direct action can save the human race. So when I see you in your voting booth, then I know it's true. I'm a better anarchist than you. I am not a pacifist, I like throwing bricks, and when the cops have caught me and I've taken a few licks, I always feel lucky if I get a bloody nose, because I feel so militant and everybody knows. By the time the riot is all through, I'm a better anarchist than you. I'm a better anarchist than you. That's a funny song to sing so enthusiastically in my living room, but let's see here. Something more in keeping with the somber moment.
I wonder if you might have 1492 on the tip of your tongue.
Oh, sure.
Thanks.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's a story that is always relevant in the age of the ongoing, perpetual, centuries-long age of vilifying Muslims and Islam. If people had any idea the real history. In 1492, Colombo crossed the ocean, only one of many harbors that would then be set in motion as his men cut limbs of Arawaks and burned children at the stake, plundering a continent for God's sake. In 1492, when King Ferdinand won Granada, he passed a law known as the Edict of Alhambra. It was as the landlords wanted, as his gracious God had willed, that any Jew in Spain had 3 months to leave or else be killed. And 800,000 Europeans became refugees and headed east across the Mediterranean Sea. In 1492, they were starving and bereft. The king said they'd be safe up until the time they left. But Christian Europeans cut them open with their swords, searched their stomachs for gold, and dumped them overboard. And 800,000 Europeans became refugees and headed east across the Mediterranean Sea. In 1492, the Sultan sent his fleet to go rescue Sephardim after the Andalus defeat. Hundreds of thousands of people who knew their deaths were near were rescued by Muslims and taken to Izmir. In 1492, the Sultan said that's fine if they'd impoverish their kingdom just to enrich mine. The Sultan also passed an edict. He said, welcome home. Now treat your new neighbors as if they were your own. 800,000 Europeans became refugees and headed east across the Mediterranean Sea. And headed east across the Mediterranean Sea. In 1492, thank you very much. Let's see here. Let's see here. A couple more, and then maybe we'll do some talking. Let's see. Certain kinds of songs will get your YouTube channel deleted. The camp's open air. That's the one thing that distinguishes what is happening in Gaza right now compared to the time of the Third Reich and its crimes. Against any decency, against any sanity, against all the children, against all humanity. From Auschwitz to Gaza, there's no difference between babies and fighters on that side of the fence, the side where they starve because the food is kept out by the occupation. No others, no doubt, where people are dropping dead on their feet while searching for crumbs of food on the street. From Auschwitz to Gaza, all night and all day, all the people inside just wasting away. Everyone waiting for death to arrive, shot or starved or burned alive, where each passing moment is punctured by groans of a million children as thin as their bones. From Auschwitz to Gaza, the outside world knew, and many lamented about what they might do while their leaders looked for money to be made in the arms trade. Once again, just like this, profiting from the apocalypse. Auschwitz to Gaza, the stages of starvation are exactly the same under occupation. First the fat goes, then all the rest, the muscle, the marrow, the milk in the breasts of all nursing mothers, as in front of their eyes, their babies cry their last little cries. Auschwitz to Gaza, under either command, all of the killing is entirely planned. Whether they call it a camp or a zone, it's all the same skin and bone. Whether they say work makes you free or humanitarian city, from Auschwitz to Gaza, the political line. From occupied Poland to Palestine, leaders outside will say we weren't aware of the extent of the horrors happening there. They'll shed a few tears and somberly then make a speech at the UN. From Auschwitz to Gaza, all over the place, the lives of the leaders who seek to save face, who say we would have acted if only we knew all that they claimed they really would do, and no one will believe at the time when some foolish person says never again. From Auschwitz to Gaza. Maybe I'll end with a little more of a hopeful kind of song, and we can have a little conversation. Dean, was that one of the possible plans? Yeah. I have fantasies about the power of music changing things in big ways, and they're not entirely based on my own daydreams. They're actually based on reality. Um, of course, there's the historical reality of social movements like the 60s and how many hearts and minds were demilitarized by the musical scene back then. But then there's my experience 20 years ago, 22 years ago, 23 years ago, doing a tour of high schools in this country. And every school I played at, the teacher who brought me there got in all kinds of trouble, even though most of the time they were not expecting to. And every school I played at, there was at least one young man who had been planning on joining the military. And after I got done with them, after 45 minutes, they had decided they were not joining the military. And music is powerful, and people should use it as a tool a lot more than they do. Those people being anyone who wants to change the world. If a song could bring us together across the planet that gave us birth, to act as one, bring peace and justice all around this shattered earth. If a song could take down borders, take down fences, make them fall, liberate all those imprisoned, kept behind the ghetto walls. If a song could stop the bombs, so the next might be the last. If a song could change the future, so it won't be like the past. If a song could be a missile fired from the Iron Dome, if it could protect the children, keep them safe within their homes. If a song could raise an army and transport it on command, take us all to Palestine to defend the Holy Land. If a song could be concrete and put to use to rebuild, if it might turn back the clock, bring back all the babies killed. If a song could be a blueprint, instructions to show us how. If a song could change the world, then let us sing it now. If a song could bring us together across the planet that gave us birth, to act as one, bring peace and justice all around this shattered earth. Thank you.
David, thanks. Thanks.
Dean.
Zoomsters, you can see we have a tip jar in the chat. YouTubers, I copied and pasted into there too. There's about a dozen of you now on the YouTube. And if you wanted, I could give you the link to come over to the Zoom if you wanted to join in some conversation with David. And I call your attention to this new bunch of songs. It's called Epstein Empire by the AI stage name of David Rovics, which is called AI Tsuno.
Aitsuno.
Aitsuno?
Yeah, it's a Japanese woman's name. Aitsuno. It's
Aitsuno.
actually it's not uncommon. It's neither the first or the last name is particularly uncommon in Japan. But of course, only Japanese people hear this and say Aitsuno. Everybody else thinks of AI and the platform Suno.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So it's not AI, it's Aitsuno, Japanese woman's name. Good to know. Um, and have you ever performed in Japan at all?
yeah, a bunch of times. Yeah, yeah. And I'm also my wife is from Japan as well, as some of the people already know there. But yeah, it's I haven't been there for many years, but back when the global justice movement was more of a thing, like 25 years ago, to like between 25 and 15 years ago, in a lot of countries, you could say, and it was it existed in Japan too, just like in everywhere else, and as with everywhere else, it had certain characteristics, like at that time in a lot of places in the world, wherever you were, you could find a cafe that considered itself to be some kind of an info shop, and you'd find Zapatista related literature and a picture of Subcomandante Marcos smoking a pipe. And you could find that picture of Subcomandante Marcos smoking a pipe, anywhere in the world, basically. And there was a cafe like that in Tokyo. And there were like 200 people involved with the global justice movement in Tokyo, by my very rough estimation, who were involved with all sorts of things, including organizing shows for me and organizing protests and info shop and cafe, and protesting it's in support of refugees there, and unlike most of Japanese society in that particular little anarchist scene, most people were fluent in English, so it was kind of an unusual little pocket of Japanese society that I don't know if it's I don't know how much it's a scene now. I haven't been there in many years now. It's been over 10 years.
Well, on the subject of the power of song, I want to let people know that we will be celebrating Pete Seeger's birthday on May 3rd, which is a Sunday. It's the day of his birthday. A bunch of people lined up. Alistair Mook and Stephanie McKay is a wonderful new find that we've discovered. She's a African American R&B who sings like a charm, and will be joining us, as well as the quartet Constellations, a vocal women's quartet. So join us for that, as well as for other upcoming concerts and events at the church. This AI thing, David, is fascinating to me, and it's something that maybe like in the last 6 months that you have sort of discovered and taken up, and it's a whole new realm for you, it seems.
Yeah, and that would be true for everybody else who's using it. I mean, basically, it's all a very recent phenomenon in terms of this technology being at the level that it's at now. I mean, I think, like a lot of other people, I played with this kind of stuff before, and it was like, okay, that's kind of a neat little party trick, but it's not making real music, and that all changed. And I first noticed the change and the potential for this technology last summer or winter, depending on how you measure it. I was in Australia, and it was there were a lot of people around at the Palestine solidarity scene, which is significant there. There were a lot of folks, particularly folks of Muslim Arab background, who were into music, who were playing with this technology. I mean, it just was a thing. I was noticing this prevalence of this phenomenon there, and I noticed, I figured out what was going on when I heard all these like really formulaic, sort of perfect country songs that sounded like they had just come out of like a Nashville studio. But they were singing about people dying in Palestine, and the lyrics were not particularly good. And I thought, okay, this is something weird about this. There's no way that there's some famous country star who's ready to sacrifice their career to sing a song that's not very good. I mean, there's something happening here. What's going on? And basically, it didn't take me long to figure out that what was going on was this was AI, which had reached a level that was so good that it was just totally like the only way you could tell that it was AI was that it was formulaic, and the music was formulaic, and the lyrics were not very good. But then at that stage, I realized, like, oh my goodness, so what would happen if you actually were a real musician using this technology and giving it prompts that you would actually give musicians like yourself or other musicians in a band to do something? Not you wouldn't tell a musicians in a band, like, I want this to sound like straight formulaic Nashville. You'd give them all sorts of other prompts, to make the things sound like what you actually hopefully want it to sound like, which is hopefully not straight formulaic Nashville. Like, I don't know who actually wants a sound like that, but maybe somebody does. But when you give it prompts that are really like the kinds of prompts you'd give a musician, and when you give it lyrics that are the kinds of lyrics that are like that you give a band that are really good, well written, and good meter and all that kind of stuff, then what it can do is create real music that's really good with incredible production values. So, like, I mean, I could see why they were messing with this technology, because for one thing, like, the kind of messages they're looking for just are largely not there. I mean, well, they are, but if they hadn't discovered me or certain very select few other obscure musicians out there, then they wouldn't know that there are people writing about this stuff in the English language. So they figured, they had to do it themselves, and very enterprising. But when I saw them doing that, I thought, well, I could do that too, and use this technology for the powerful tool for propaganda that it obviously is. And of course, it's a powerful tool for propaganda being used by the most nefarious forces you could imagine right now, all the time.
Yeah.
But it's also, we can do it too.
I used to say I'd never get a cell phone.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I used to hear,
And
I think it was like 10 years ago, people were saying things like, you should only check your email once a day, and then you'll be like, it's good for your mental health. Like, I never hear anybody like giving such advice. It would be ridiculous.
during COVID time, you went into a lot of just sort of podcasting and interviewing a lot of different people. Are you still doing some of that?
No, but the best thing that came out of COVID for me was, like, learning how to do make audio sound good, online, which I had never bothered learning how to do. But that's what it was in 2020 when I finally, got, I think it was this microphone, and this little Focusrite box, and other stuff that, and figured out how to sound good on StreamYard. Anyway, I figured that much out, and I did a lot of interviewing of people, and I really enjoyed that at the time. But then, since the pandemic, and I can travel again, and my kids are going to school again, and all that, so I haven't, that the whole interviewing thing, I fell by the wayside years ago. But I still do broadcasts occasionally, and have this nice curtain in the living room here behind me to make me everything look kind of professional, even though the curtain has nothing to do with this broadcasting. We had this curtain up already, just to have a little sort of semi-private space in the living room where we could have a guest who at least, has a curtain to keep them from the rest of us, if they're spending the night. But it's only been used as a studio pretty much since we got it.
Do you have any big tours coming up? Are you going to be
Yeah,
out
I'm
this
leaving.
way?
Well, I'm leaving in 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks. I'll be flying to Europe, and doing gigs around Germany, Scandinavia, England, Scotland, and then doing a tour around the Northwest, in June, July, and I definitely need to come back out to the East Coast. I'm not sure when though, but probably in the fall.
Yeah. Well, You got lots of friends here who will roll out the red carpet and treat you in the manner in which you are accustomed.
I'd love to come back to the community church, play live in the real world for everybody
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Is there anyone else on the Zoom or the YouTube? I'll check the chat. Who want to say hi to David or make any comments or questions or remarks?
I heard a little bing.
That was me. That was my phone.
Uh-huh.
My phone.
Not a
I thought
private
of
message.
you talked about Bisbee, Arizona, and I thought of two things. I'll tell you about all those deportees from the copper mine. I've been
Yeah.
I've been
Good
on
story.
I've been on the phone for hours in the last 2 days
Mm.
with a young woman from El Salvador whose grandmother is a longtime friend of mine. The grandmother is a very skilled seamstress who makes things in part of a women's co-op that I sell on their behalf at farmers markets here in Boston. Anyway, this grandchild came to the U.S. 3 years ago with a 3-year-old child and requested asylum, fleeing a domestic violence situation. She was here 3 years, going to her ICE appointments, and last month went to her scheduled ICE appointment and was held and given one phone call to call a friend to pick up her child, who now 6, from school, and was soon after that spirited away to Denver, Colorado, where she was sitting a month while they waited to figure out what they were going to do with her. We hired a lawyer for her. We tried to get her a bail, get her a bracelet to come home and voluntarily deport herself with her child to return to El Salvador. Finally, last Saturday, she was put on a plane, shackled with a plane load, and they do this thing called staging, which the ICE plane goes to several different stops and picks up or drops off according to whatever the plan is. She went first to first to Nevada, then to Arizona, then to Louisiana. She was 2 days on a plane and finally dropped off in Texas. She was put on a bus with 20 other all men and driven a few hours. She is under the impression that they crossed the border and took them to an abandoned place in Mexico in the middle of the desert, dropped them off group by group. Her they dropped off all by herself. No passport, no phone. Left them there. Soon after, another ICE vehicle, probably another bus, came and picked them up, rearrested them, and reprocessed them and brought them to Corpus Christi, Texas, where she is now. We've been trying to report this horrible incident that happened to her and others who were there, and trying to get the ACLU to do some kind of a class action on behalf of these people that are awaiting their fate, whether to be deported or not. It's the most horrific situation that I thought of when you talked about all those people just cattle card to some place 500 miles away and dropped off. I'm still scratching my head at what to do and how to act on something to bring attention to this horrific situation. She's still waiting for her deportation. She says, "Get me out of here. I want to be back where something is familiar, where I can get new clothes, and we're willing to help her in every way we can to reunite with her daughter. And there's a problem there, which is the father of her child is saying, "I won't sign anything. She should go somewhere else, not to you." It's just a horrific situation. Another thing that Bisbee, Arizona brings to mind, one of the concerts, online concerts that we did was a benefit concert for Tom Pacheco. I don't know if you know his music, but I'm totally obsessed with the songs of Tom Pacheco. He lives in Woodstock, New York, and he's not doing well. Both he and his wife are quite ill. In fact, maybe in the hospital because they're not answering their phone. Anyway, Tom Pacheco wrote a very powerful song. It was called Grandma's Blue Blanket. And it's a song about this blanket that his grandmother had, and that kept him warm on the couch, and that she would take to the beach when they went to a beach near New Bedford in Massachusetts, where he grew up, and he inherited the blanket when she died, and he noticed it had some buttonholes and some buttons, and researched to come to find out this blanket. His mother was Lakota, and this blanket was made out of the uniforms of soldiers of Custer's army.
Wow.
And there's quite a few of them, of these blankets handed down. And the reason I bring this up is I said, "Where's that blanket now?" When he came and did two shows for us, one at a concert series and one at the church, and he says it's at a museum in Bisbee, Arizona.
Great.
Maybe I need to make a pilgrimage to. It's a remarkable song. Tom has written thousands of songs, and four of them will be on a new record that's of mine that's coming out in maybe a couple months.
Great.
So thanks for that reminder of Bisbee, Arizona, and so many other reminders. 1492 is such a powerful number that I want to learn someday and spread the word about
I'd love
the
to hear you do it.
Sephardim, including my aunt, who is an Iraqi Jewish woman from Iraq. Iraqi from Iraq. um, and it made me think also of the Jews of Iran. There's quite a community. Max Blumenthal just did a trip to Iran to visit Iranian Jews, of which there are maybe 100,000, and not only thrive and in an anti-Zionist way, but are a powerful example of what that country is. An incredible diversity of ethnic peoples there, dominant Shia Muslim, but serious ethnic minorities and religious minorities of Baha'is and Zoroastrians and Jews and Christians. It's a pretty remarkable thing that a lot of people don't know about.
No, people just mostly in the West have preposterous, simplified and vilified and two-dimensional, one-dimensional versions of Iranian reality and history. That has nothing to do with the real Iran.
There's a remarkable travel video by Rick Steves, the great PBS travel, mostly Europe, focusing on Europe, but he did Iran, and it is just remarkable. Some of the sites there, the architecture, the culture, the art is fascinating, and they're bombing the crap out of it.
Yeah, and some of the ancient sites.
It's unconscionably obscene.
Hundreds of hospitals, schools. Yeah.
Yeah. David, let's get back to our dinner and the beer that's waiting for me in the fridge. Hey,
Well, thank you
Charlie.
for having me.
Yeah, Charlie wants to say hello.
Hi, I was just looking at your T-shirt and was wondering, have you written any songs about the situation in Cuba recently?
I have, and I haven't learned them though. There are other songs with Aitsuno with the band. One recently. Yeah, but I can't sing it for you with the guitar. But yeah, I
Well,
have written a couple.
we can hardly wait to hear him.
Yeah, if you look
Yeah.
up, go to soundcloud.com/David Rovics. We're on SoundCloud, and then you'll see pinned there to the main page for me on SoundCloud is Best of Aitsuno, and that'll more recent stuff is mostly at the top, and includes songs about Cuba and Iran and Venezuela, and yeah, many of which I'll be working on learning in the near future. But there's a lag time. There's always a big lag time, you know.
With the exception of Tom Pacheco, I think you're the most prolific writer I've ever come across. It's amazing your output and your commentary on every horrific event that comes our way, and it seems like they're coming more and more in droves. And you
It's
gotta
just nonstop.
you gotta keep up with it. It's
It's
not
too much to
easy.
keep up with. Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, there's always more to write about. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, David, I want to say thank you. I want to remind folks that tip jar is there. If you want to also go to the Eventbrite page, there's a way to make a donation of any amount, and the proceeds all go to the performer. We have one more show in 2 weeks, and that is Ben Groscup, who will be live at the church as well as live streamed. Um, Thank you, Victor Wallace, Steve from Ukiah,
Yay.
Charlie, and the dozen or so of you that are on the YouTube. Let's see if there's any comments on the YouTube. I want to just. I'm not very good at this. Where did it go? I can't get it up to. Come on, there. No, that's not it. I was going to try to find the YouTube comments and
They're
I'm
out there
not getting
somewhere.
them. They're out there somewhere. They're on some link here. Are they there? Um, just kind of commentary on the sound. Um, oh well, and the rest of the chat is. Oh wait a second. Let's get this out of the way. And thank you for exposing a song of hard facts. Thank you for exposing this horror. I cannot hear the singer. His words are muffled. What is the point? Sorry, I could hear you.
Well, I was. I don't know. I'll listen back and see what it sounds like. Who
Blessings,
knows?
rad family. Just got here. Sound coming in hot, too hot.
Oh yeah, that's the
Yeah, yeah.
experience I've had with Zoom in the past too. So
Well, and how it translates onto YouTube is another thing to pay attention to, and maybe in the future we will
I might
we'll just
switch
try
to
just doing
StreamYard.
YouTube straight to YouTube, not do the Zoom. That's something to experiment with.
I'd use
We're
StreamYard.
really a
StreamYard.
StreamYard. Do you subscribe to StreamYard?
Yeah, yeah. It's really good. It works. Yeah.
Uh huh.
And you
So
can
you
stream directly to YouTube and Facebook and X and Twitch and other platforms at the same time.
all at the same time.
Yeah, depending on your account, but yeah,
You've figured out how to do this, and you do it occasionally. You stream to
yeah, yeah. I
several
do it
different
pretty regularly.
platforms.
Yep, and it really works well, and the
Uh-huh.
quality of the sound. I never have those kinds of problems with StreamYard like I do with Zoom, in terms of the sound quality.
Yeah. Well, the Zoom allows like a church meeting to have
Yeah.
people, both presenters as well as participants online, and participate and comment
Yeah, it's
and
good for that. And StreamYard, I think, has a limit of like 10 people in the room, so it's no good for that.
oh, so
It's really
it does have a
important.
room for people
Yeah,
to
yeah,
join,
but it's
like a
small.
Zoom. It's a
It's
small,
small
uh-huh.
though. Oh, and but Steve says it sounded good on Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. I agree.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, yeah. Well, folks, come see us at Community Church of Boston if you're in the area. If not, join us on Zoom and YouTube and maybe other platforms if we ever get our act together and figure out how to do it and find better platforms and better ways to evade the man.
I'll be your
And
free consultant.
okay, okay, you've had to do that a lot, huh? Yeah, yeah.
Take care, everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in, whoever you may be.
David, I appreciate you, and I'll be in touch soon. Okay.
Great, Dean.
And
Take care.
like I said, let us know when you're coming this way. We drop everything for you.
Oh, I'll be back. Absolutely.
All right. Love everybody.
Good night.
Keep in touch. Do good.